There's really a couple of very specific things that organizations and leaders should expect when they're working with Inspirers. The first thing is that we consider ourselves to be students of change. We're always trying to learn to be our highest and our best ourselves. So we're constantly doing things like peer coaching within our own team, providing feedback, partnering different team members together so that they can learn from each other. And then I would say that beyond that, they can expect us to always start with an organization assessment or an assessment of the situation so that we can familiarize ourselves with what's really going on, what's happening at root cause, and how do we know. And that org assessment starts with both quantitative and qualitative data and marrying those two together. And some of the examples of some of the quantitative data are things like the hiring rates, the termination rates, pay equity issues and concerns or themes and trends, awards, the way projects are being assigned, right? How are people and information moving into, through, and out of the organization? And on the qualitative side of that data organizational assessment are things like key leader and stakeholder interviews, surveys, demographically based focus groups. And so we take that quantitative data and that qualitative data and we put the two together, do our own assessments, and then help feed back that information to the organization so they can see, okay, this is what's happening at root cause based on valid data, and this is how we know, and now that sort of illuminates what we should do. After that, we work with them to look at what we call the 4 levels of system: intrapersonal, interpersonal, external, organization. The intrapersonal is, well, what did we learn from the data in terms of what's going on inside of people, right? Their thoughts, their feelings, their sentiments. The interpersonal lens is, well, what's happening between groups and teams, and what might be getting underneath people's skin in terms of conflict, in terms of feedback to each other, in terms of dialogue with each other, and just working effectively as a team. And then the organizational aspect of that org assessment is, well, what's happening across the entire culture? What's the water that we're swimming in? How does it feel to be a part of this organization? How are our processes, our systems, our policies, our norms, and what's really happening there? And then the last part of that organizational assessment is external. How is their brand viewed or seen or experienced outside the 4 walls of the organization? Do people see them as being civically engaged? Do people see them as being a good corporate citizen? Then what leaders can expect is the 5-star model, which is sort of our secret sauce. And within the 5-star model, the first thing you really experience is, okay, so based on this data, based on the 4 levels of system, here's what we're now going to do. Let's align to your strategy, right? Let's align these solutions to what's strategically important to you as an organization. Secondly, we ask ourselves, okay, what might be some experiential training that leaders and employees need to go through, or team development? And then thirdly, what might be leader-specific coaching, whether that's individual coaching with leaders or group-level coaching with leaders. And then we move to process improvements, and we have a couple of subject matter experts on our team who are Six Sigma master black belt, type people. And what we are able to do with that is to have a methodical, evidence-based approach to look at people-related processes. The way you hire, the way you fire, the way you promote, the way you do performance reviews. We're able to look at those processes, deconstruct them, or construct them, or re-engineer them, if you will, so that they are optimized, right? So they are equitable, and they are aligned with the goals and the strategy that are most important to the organization. And then lastly, within that 5-star model, we look at dialogue. What are some real conversations that people need to have, and how can we have a skilled facilitator to hold that safety container and take them through that necessary conversation? The last thing I would say in terms of what people and leaders should expect when they're working with Inspirers is what we call the non-linear nature of change. Because when things feel tough, when it feels hard, when it almost feels like it's not gonna work, that's normal in the change process. It's not quick, it's not easy, and it does take time. It never goes from we're gonna start here and you go to there and we got this done. There's a loop that'll happen. And when things happen, you have to back up. You have to address it. You have to pop that bubble and then you move on. Some loops are bigger than others. COVID-19 was a big loop for a lot of organizations. But you eventually get to where you want to go with that change, but that's the non-linear nature of change. That's what organizations and leaders can expect when they're working with Inspirers.